station commander here. I'm very fortunate to be here since we were breaking dirt here in 2005 and subsequently opening the station in 2007. I know a lot of faces here. Support going back to 2007 when we first opened up. Assistant, I know you just sat down, Assistant Station Commander, First Lieutenant Russ Wall, okay? We have deputies in the back, Crime Prevention Specialist, Nathan Payne, Community Resource Specialist, Brian Wacker, okay? They'll be talking about, both of them will be talking about their preventative measures out here and enforcement, and you'll get an idea of their particular skill set, all right? Let's see, welcome coming out here in this cool, damp evening here. I know it's a sacrifice for a lot of you all. We do have chairs, gentlemen. Want to ensure everybody's comfortable. I'm sorry, we also have Trooper Huntley here, okay? I introduced some of the officers here. He's our trooper working out of Area 10, is that correct? And he oversees the sex registry through the state of Virginia, okay? And that is his expertise, and again, we're very fortunate to have him here to give a rundown and briefing on what he does, okay? I want to welcome all our Neighborhood Watch folks. I know South Ride Neighborhood Watch. Any other Neighborhood Watch?
Avonlea.
Avonlea, thank you. Lena Run, very good. Providence Ridge, okay. Brampton, okay, thank you. Representatives from our Board of Supervisors. Matt Letourneau, I just got off the phone with Matt about a half hour ago. Rep here. Yeah.
I might be updating him.
Okay, all right, we'll give you the floor. And last but not least, our sheriff. Thank you for coming out and joining us here, Sheriff Mike Chapman. With that, I'm going to, we're going to get the show on the road here, and I'm going to give the floor to Sheriff Chapman. And perhaps we have a PowerPoint that can support his presentation here with the 100 days. Yes, sir. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the mood lights on and bring this down.
You guys are more prepared. You had your ties on, so had you go back outside and get wet on. You know, I'm Mike Chapman. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to see so many members of the community here. This has been great. I've been trying to make as many of these presentations as possible. And I think what's really good about these is it gives us a chance to really connect. I found one of the things that I found certainly going through the campaign was that it was really great to actually get out in the community, and you really have to earn your votes and have to earn your position when it comes to being an elected official. So I'm kind of unlike like a police chief who was appointed by board of supervisors. Being the sheriff, we actually try to respond directly to the needs of the community and the citizens that we serve. So it's been a great experience for me, and I'm really enjoying it. And again, I'm glad to see so many people out here. We just went out with a 100-day kind of notice as to what we've accomplished here. And as you can see here, in fact, I've got the sheet here. I don't know if any of you got it on your emails or if you're on the list, and if you're not, maybe we can make some copies here tonight. I'll leave this for anybody that might want a copy of this. But we've been very fortunate because we were able to really get a crew in that was very professional, very proactive. We ended up lending both some people from the outside that I brought in addition to people on the inside that had the institutional knowledge that could really try to gel and make things happen. We wanted to have a good cross-section of ideas, suggestions, institutional knowledge, and ways to look at things a little bit differently. And I'm not going to go into detail on all these things because I won't be here all night, but I do want to hit some of the highlights. One of the things that we wanted to do, kind of like right off the bat, was improve service. And that applies to everybody, not just service in this particular area, but throughout the county. And everybody has an equal right to the same quality service that you get here in Dallas South. I think my very first day on the job, I had to go before the board of supervisors. because there was a question as to whether this Western Loud station was going to be a go or not. I had a chance to be out there and checked it out and saw that it's something that we really needed out there. More so to serve the community than anything that we need. We need to have a station that actually serves the needs of the law enforcement in our capacity. In other words, a holding cell that we can put a prisoner in, video conferencing with the magistrate, things that we can do to make things work better and more efficiently. Things like that they don't have in the area that covers actually the biggest square mileage in Loudoun County. If you look at Western Loudoun, it covers 318 square miles out there, which is by far the most of any particular area here where we have stations at. So we felt that was really important for that. We wanted to improve our ability to provide service, and also, and you'll see this also on the efficiency side. We looked at schedule changes and whether or not we could actually cut costs by changing the way that we're doing our scheduling and augmenting what's called, now we have a power shift, but augmenting that with a dedicated SWAT team as opposed to a power shift that would actually work the patrol function unless you had some sort of an emergency call out. And in doing that, we're going to have actually better coverage on a 24/7 basis than we did with the old schedule. So we looked at doing that, and we're gonna go ahead and institute that in July or August. And some other things that we've done, proactively trying to serve the community better. We centralized our property crimes investigators, our detectives are now coming out to the stations, so they will report directly to the station commanders. And in doing that, when you have a property crime, you're going to see kind of a more of an immediate service rather than it having to go to our headquarters and then it gets cycled around to a particular investigator, and they got to come out here and that sort of thing. When we have property crimes detectives that will be responsive to the community, and since it's the patrol sector that's usually handling the reports when they come in originally, having the detectives to be able to respond immediately is probably going to improve your service quite a bit with that. Some other things we did, we're working very closely. A couple of folks I brought in. I brought in former Chief of Operations for the Drug Enforcement Administration, Richie Piano. I put him in charge of our investigative division. He had about 30 years of law enforcement experience and directed operations throughout DEA, really across the globe. A lot of leadership experience. I think when he was in charge of operations for DEA, he commanded like 4,500 special agents, and so I was very fortunate to be able to bring him onto the department here, as well as John Fraga, who's a retired FBI senior executive, because we wanted to have that connection with outside agencies. What we want to do is try to pool the resources that we can, so that not everything is on the back of the county. If we can do things and work with others as we're out there doing our jobs, and we can get training, equipment, assistance, and those sorts of things, that's going to help out a lot, and it's going to take that financial monkey off our back, and it'll give us some outside input and some different ways of looking at things as well. So we did that. So we kind of opened that up. Next one. Looking at technology, and I'd say the key one here, without going into all of these, what I wanted to do with the technology is make sure that we had a way to reach out and for you to reach back and vice versa. I mean, it's very, very important that we communicate with each other. The only way that we're going to solve crimes out here is to involve the citizens here. We are looking at, we do have a reverse 911 capability, and the reverse 911 capability is something that we use when you have like a kidnapping or whatever, and we figure out where the area is from, and we go ahead and we kind of reverse launch a robotic call that says, hey, watch out for this and that, we're looking for so-and-so. But what I'm trying to do, and this will be in the future, is be able to hone that into neighborhood watch programs where if you have some sort of an ongoing crime or something that just occurred, that we can give that information directly to that particular neighborhood. So it actually focuses it down more into exactly your neighborhood, and if it's just by way of you getting a text message. I mean, we have the technology to do these things, and we really need to actually step up and use this technology. The website, I had a meeting today, we were talking about the website, we're trying to get it to where we want it, where you can call in and report crimes online if you want to. I mean, there's a lot of times where people they're getting ready to go to work, you know, they had somebody that vandalized something in their yard, there's no suspect, there's no witnesses, but they should report it, because if there's a pattern, we need to know about it. But it's also important that they report it. They gotta make an insurance claim or build up their insurance claims in order to get some sort of money back. But a lot of times you don't wanna wait for a deputy to show up, you're kinda on the run. So, where you have the ability to just go online and do a report online, and then be able to follow up with it online. So we were looking at that today. So when you go ahead and you make a report, you know, you give it a certain maybe period of time, you don't hear something back, where it's at or whatever, you know, and that would be more of if you report like a break-in or something like that, that if you don't get any kind of response over, say, I don't know what the time period would be, that you could actually get back to us, get a hold of the detective and find out what the status of the case is, if there's been any developments, and all that kind of thing. So we are trying to really, we've done some other things. We got the El Paso Intelligence Center that we're doing things with for instantaneous, that's a huge fusion center that we have out in El Paso, Texas, but we can work through other agencies to get data instantaneously. You don't, just because it's out there doesn't mean that we can't access that 24/7. We get all kinds of computer checks run on people across the board, whether it's through Homeland Security, whether it's through immigration, whether you name it, we can do it through there, and we can use that capability to really augment what our patrol officers are doing out there. But you're going to see, you've probably already seen a change, and if you go on the county website, you'll see that they changed theirs. We have a little bit of a change to ours, and that change is going to be far greater come August, because we're kicking around all kinds of things that we want to put there and try to make it work and be much more interactive with the citizens. Efficiency, some of the things that we did right off the bat to try to save the taxpayers money here, to save you all a little bit of money, was before I even took office and everybody had to be sworn in, we decided to go out to all the roll calls, and in doing that, it's for everybody in there. So Gary Clemens, clerk of the court, was nice enough to come out. We went to every single roll call. And you don't realize how many deputies and how many people that we have, how many sworn personnel we have until you go to all these websites. I thought it would never stop. So we're out at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7, and then we got one, then we got at night, then we got criminal investigations, then we got special operations, and then we got to do the whole next shift and do them all over again. But it was really good. It was good for me to do because I got to meet all the people that work in the department, and that was really fun to do. And we were able to save by doing that instead of calling everybody in and having to pay them overtime. We were able to save over $15,000 just doing that. We were able to put one of the people that I promoted was Ricky Fry. He was a captain out there in Sterling, and I put him in charge of our adult detention center. He had a very good reputation. I had a chance to get to meet him a little bit during the campaign. I was very impressed by him, and he's a very, very dynamic leader. So I figured, hey, let's put him in over there, see what he can do here to move this jail along. The jail was, it was just one delay after another, after another. And just so you know, by having all these delays, what was happening is all these prisoners that we should have had housed at our adult detention center were getting housed all throughout the state. So that's costing money in transport, it's costing money to rent the facilities. And while we're sitting there just kind of lollygagging and trying to get our facility open, they were paying all this money out. So I said, we have got to move this thing along. We sat down, figured out a plan of attack, a strategy to do this. And we did. Actually opened it up about 4 months ahead of schedule. In fact, I think, Kevin, wonder if I'm wrong here, but I thought they got the last of the prisoners in there, and they finished up with the video visitation and all that. So I think we're all good with that. So I think we're just about up to full speed already.
That's right.
And the earliest that they were talking about before, the absolute earliest was July, and that was after they had projected July last year that it was going to be open. And that was after they hired 57 deputies and had no really place to put them, so they wanted them at the courthouse. So we're paying all this money for these deputies that, I mean, they're helping out at the courthouse, don't get me wrong, but they should have been at the jail, but the jail wasn't open yet. So we weren't able to put them where they needed to be to give you the best value for your tax dollars. So we were able to change that. One of the things too I fought for is my number one thing when I went to the Board of Supervisors was to get night differential for our deputies. Very, very important. If you look across the board, any department in this region, and I honestly, I've worked kind of all over the U.S. and I don't know of any department that does the kind of service that we do that does not pay a night differential for the deputies out there. And it's not that much, but I tell you, just a morale booster, getting people paid for, and giving them incentive. Those people that want to work nights, maybe go to school, maybe adjust their schedule around their kids going to daycare, whatever the case is, gives them a little incentive to do that. So we went ahead and we pushed that. That was my number one request, and you know, I heard, no, it can't be done. With the Board of Supervisors, we got it done. So I was very, very happy to be able to do something for our deputies because they work hard for you, and I can tell you, I'm very honored. I'm very privileged to have won the election to be serving the sheriff, because I'm very grateful to be in this position and work with the quality men and women that I work with every day in this department. Efficiency. These are some of the things that we did. Kind of got rid of the flex schedule in court. I mentioned the SWAT unit. There's another thing here, a little complicated, but the emergency vehicle operations team, that was something that we were paying a lot in overtime for, that we were able to cut back and contract out. So when we put it all together and all these savings, it's about a $500,000 a year savings. So that's about what we're projecting for next year, to save close to $500,000. And professionalism, and this to me is key. I mean, we need to really make sure that we're recruiting and we're retaining the best deputies and best civilian personnel that we possibly can. So what we're doing is actually doing all kinds of stuff, outreaching with the local colleges here, you know, whether it's Nova, whether it's the other colleges that are up and down Route 7, so we can actually get recruiting programs going, meeting with the professors, making sure that they know that we're looking for good people to serve on this department, and we're looking elsewhere too. U.S. military, we're doing all kinds of outreach in here because we want to make sure that we are out in the community, and we're trying to do as much as we can. I mean, yesterday I was out, or the day before, opening day there in Ashburn, so I got to throw the first pitch out there for the Little League, so that was a lot of fun. I was just happy he made it over the plate. So we're trying to do as much outreach as we can. We want to be part of the community. We want to make sure that we're meeting your needs. And this is what it's about. This is about outreach. This is about input from you. And I tell you, and I'm sure everybody will attest to this, all the deputies, that we're open to suggestion, ideas. I went through a bunch of them just the other day. One of our sergeants sent up a bunch of things, felt like some of his ideas had been stifled in the past, and he wanted to make sure I was aware of them. Had a couple good ideas, you know, so we're looking at it and see whether we can implement some of these ideas. So we are trying to reach out to the community, have an input back, website, all kinds of things that we're trying to do to just kind of make it better for all of you, and make it better for us, and making sure that we meet each other's needs. So with that, that's kind of like, that's a lot in a nutshell here, but we will try to get some copies of this for anybody that has any questions. Who wants to look at it? You already did that. You guys are fast. You got this, I didn't expect that. You already copied that. Any questions out there? I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Come on, you got to be a question out there.
Sheriff?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm curious as to how you briefly mentioned the power shift. How is that countywide?
Yes.
The power shift, and it's already implemented?
No, it's not implemented yet.
Okay.
It'll be implemented in July. See, what'll happen is, there was a study that was done a while back called the ICMA study, and there was some contention as to whether it was of much value, and I went ahead and I looked through it. And there were some things that were valuable, there were some things that were not. I actually scoured it when I was looking at the shifts to see what they were trying to design and how they planned on doing it. And although we didn't adopt 100% of what they said, the way I looked at it, we kind of did a schematic. We were able to do an assessment based on our mapping of calls that we get, frequency of calls, dates and times of calls, as to when our highest volume was. And right now you got a power shift that's also working on. You had 3 shifts and 3 other shifts. So you got like and you all know better here, but like maybe a 5 to 5, and then you have another one that would be on the other side of that 5 to 5, and then you got something that's kind of in the middle, you know, like a 3, you know, that kind of hits the evening hours. But if you look at the mapping of the calls, you'll find that, like I'm typically, not all the time, because it's very unpredictable, law enforcement in general. You never know. Some of the nights you think you're not going to get any calls, you get a slew of them, and other nights you think you're going to be busier than heck and you don't get any. So it's really kind of hard to gauge, but when you map it all out, generally speaking, the early parts of the week are not as busy as the latter parts of the week when people are, you know, starting to air it out on the weekends, Friday night, Saturday night, stuff like that. So you really need a power shift on like a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So if you can split your shifts up and do 2 and 2 and augment the busy schedules and have a flexible unit that if you know something in advance is going to be busy, then you can place them in there. If not, they run towards the end of the week. So those are the kinds of thinking. And if you get a call out, an emergency call out, that's like a SWAT call out or something, they're ready to go. You know, that's what they do when they're ready to go. So it doesn't take much away from the patrol function. I mean, they're not going to handle as many calls, but then again, you're not going to have to pull from patrol all over the place in order to assemble your SWAT team. So you know, it's probably not going to be perfect, but I think it's going to be better and more efficient than what we have right now. Yes, sir.
Evening, Sheriff. Going in the theme with the professionalism, your community outreach, and recruiting through colleges, is there a plan or is there in place a intern program for high school / college students that are interested in law enforcement?
Yes, there is, and I tell you, we're just starting to work through that right now. There was one before. I think it was kind of put on the back burner there.
It was more or less a hybrid type program, but we are putting particular standards now. Captain Greg Brown is overseeing that program. We do have an intern currently working with the agency. There's been directives out to our troops and supervisors to do's and don'ts working with this individual. But it's a great opportunity, and we certainly welcome that.
And what we're trying to do with it is we want to make sure that and I know we have one on ready to come.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any more, but I did see the paperwork on one for the summer. And what we're trying to do is make sure that the interns get a good slice of all the different sections. So it's not like you bring them in and you say, hey, look, we need somebody to stack those papers over there.
That'd be meaningful to them too.
Yeah. So we end up bringing them in to actually, so that they get to see what we do in all of our different elements, and you can get a good idea as to how we operate and all that, to see whether this might be a job for them down the road. And we get sometimes, you get some of your best people because they've had an opportunity to intern, they like what they see, they want to be involved, and they follow through on it. So,
Is that information on the website?
should be. If it's not, there should be a contact for Liz Mills on the website. She's our chief of. Okay, she'd be the contact. You can reach out to her directly, either by phone or through an email, and she can give you more details on that. And actually, Captain Greg Brown is actually running it, but Liz is involved with helping promote it. Okay. Anything else? I was in Sterling the other day. Everybody was asking questions like crazy. Couldn't stop. But no, any other questions? Okay, if you don't have any other questions, I'll turn it back over to Russ and to Ed here. But thanks for coming out. Again, the way we do our job and the way we do it for you, but we want to do it with you too, because we can't do it without your help. So appreciate you coming out and enjoy the rest of the night here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sheriff.